What's going down besides beer?
Bull.
Bull? Man, I'll turn this place into a car wash.
The Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull.
Well, I had finished my 13 weeks of training in the field in the Gulf Division, which was the state of Texas and the state of Oklahoma. I had been just about to every part of the state that you can be, and like I say, I was enjoying it okay. I drank a whole lot more beer than I wanted to because I never drank beer before I got into this job, except just an occasional beer after a flight. But this was drinking like a half a case every day. And like I say, it was kind of a test from the other district managers I was training with just to see if I could hold my beer and not make a fool out of myself. And apparently I did okay with that. So Jim Lowry says, I'm gonna assign you as a assistant district manager in the Longview market. You're going to be working for Carl Shirley. And Carl's, senior guy. You worked with him before. And so you can learn a lot from him and just do what he says for you to do. But he says, unlike a lot of assistant district managers, I'm not going to have you move to Longview because it's going to be a temporary assignment. And he said, just rent a car and go over there and spend the week, stay in the hotels or whatever. And then, like I say, we'll do that week by week until we decide what you're going to do next. And I said, okay. So I went over there. I spent the entire week typing up his annual reports. So I spent about 10, 12 hours a day on a typewriter typing up all the reports for every wholesaler, their sales and history and up and down and reasons why and so forth. So I learned a lot on the administrative part that week. When I finished up that week, I was pretty tuckered out, and I drove back to Fort Worth. And I was glad to be home. And when I got home, it was about 5 o'clock, I guess, that afternoon. And the phone rings, and it's Jim Lowry. And he says, hey, Gene, he says, you got a decision that you need to make. And I said, oh, yeah, what's that? He said, well, you can either go to Rockford, Illinois as the district manager, or you can go to Tulsa, Oklahoma and be the district manager. And so I ripped out a atlas, and I was looking for Rockford, Illinois, and I'm looking all over Illinois. I can't even find the place. And ends up, it's clear in the far north corner of Illinois, almost into Wisconsin. And I'm thinking about the weather in that part of the country, and I'm saying that's a long way from home, too. So I said, I think I'll go to Tulsa, Jim. And he says, well, I think that's a smart decision. And he said, I'm going to tell you why it's a smart decision. He said, number one, Rockford, Illinois has got a high share of market for up there. They've got almost a 30 share of market. And their chances of holding on to that 30 share of market is pretty slim. So while you're in that market, if sales start going down, they're going to blame you for that. And so that's not going to help you with your progression in our company. He said, on the other hand, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we don't have any share of market. If it's that way when you leave, they can't blame you because it was that way when you got there. But he said, if you happen to make sales go up some, then you're going to be a hero, and that means you'll get a really better assignment the next time. And I said, well, the other reason, Jim, is I'll still be working for you, and I really enjoy working for you. And I said, I'll just call you when I get to Tulsa. And he said, okay.
When you've got a well-known name, people expect a lot. You
don't fool around.
We've got a beer named after the city that means beer. Old Milwaukee. It's a tough name to live up to, but Old Milwaukee is one of the fastest-growing major beers in the country.
Tell me, babe, you don't happen to know any kids named Garrick, do you?
Old Milwaukee beer tastes as great as its name.
So got packed up and ready to move, looking for a place to live up there. Finally found a duplex apartment in Tulsa. And I only had the eastern half of the state. Oklahoma City was under the jurisdiction of a guy named Mike Klein, who was really a nice guy. He and I got to be real good friends. And so all I had was just the eastern half and about 7 or 8 wholesalers. And so I got up there and like I say, found the apartment, moved in. And I went out and started introducing myself to the wholesalers. And unfortunately for me, the guy that was in that district manager job before me, a guy named Jim Riley, all the wholesalers hated him. So whatever I did, I had to be better than he was. So I came in there on a positive note. And I was working about 2 or 3.5 weeks, and hadn't heard one single word out of the division office. And I wasn't used to that. I was used to having supervision that, if I didn't talk to him every day, I talked to him once a week at least, and I had not heard one word from Jim Lowry. And so one day I got the nerve up, and I said, I'm going to call him up and see what's going on. I must have made some mistake or something, and he's mad at me. So I called him up. I said, Jim, this is Gene. He goes, yes, sir. He said, what can I do for you? I said, well, I've been up here for 3 weeks, and I'm doing my best to learn my wholesalers and learn what their problems and issues are, and they got plenty of them. And I said, but I have not heard one single word from you, and I'm a little concerned. Have I done something wrong? He said, no, you don't understand working for me. He says, when you work for me, if you hear from me, you got a problem. If you don't hear from me, you're in good shape. Don't worry about it. And I said, you call me if you need me, Jim. Goodbye. And I hung up.